Welcome to the Morning Track Power Hour. I am Dr. Andrew Scaff. He is Dr. Michael Werman, Esquire. On today's show, we'll continue talking about the Kansas City Royals and their sort of 500-ish ball over the last couple of weeks. We'll talk about the NBA and NHL playoffs now reaching the third round, and but we'll kick off today's show with the announcement of the Kansas City Chiefs 2025 2026, getting into the beginning of 2026 NFL schedule. Uh, Chiefs are going to be playing Christmas Day, Thanksgiving Day, opening in Brazil, Mike. With a tough schedule here in early on, a little bit too. What are your initial thoughts on the early release of the schedule?
Yeah, I think the game in Brazil is interesting. She's, I guess they did have one game in Brazil last year. The NFL did. That seems like that's been last couple of years. That's been the second game. Uh, the Super Bowl losers, or well, it was the Eagles and Packers last year. This is, Eagles didn't lose last year's Super Bowl, but Eagles and Packers were in Brazil last year, and then now the Chiefs and Chargers are going to be in the um, it's the day after the opening day. So the Thursday night game is Super Bowl champions. Friday night game is the Brazil game, and then Sunday games as normal, and Monday night games for everybody else. But yeah, so that's interesting because the Chiefs haven't played down there. Home is the home of former Chiefs kicker Cairo Santos, Brazil, of course. Is he still in the league? He was recently.
I think so. I think did we see him in a game towards the end of the season last year?
Was he with the Bears still? Yeah, he's with the Bears, I guess.
Yeah. Well, that was
Um,
earlier in the season, I guess, then, wasn't it?
yeah, so uh he's been with the Bears the last one, two, three, four, 5 years. And he had a brief stint with the Bears when he left the Chiefs in 2017. So he's been with the Bears. I guess he's solidified the Bears uh team. But yeah, he's a pretty good kicker. Not as maybe not as good as Butker. He's when he was injured, that's when they got Chiefs got Butker. So back in 17.
Right.
But yeah, so he's Brazilian. I don't know if there are any other Brazilian football player. Maybe some former kickers. Um,
Yeah.
I remember the Royals also have one of the few Brazilian baseball players who has played for them.
Yeah. Paulo
Paulo
Orlando.
Orlando. Yes. That's
Kevin Biggio just made a nice catch running into the wall here. I don't know if I think he's all right. He broke his glasses though. Like
uh-oh.
the
That's like
shades did not survive the collision with the wall.
oh.
Like, live for us right now, play. Anyway,
Hmm.
keeping an eye on this game over here. But yeah, Paulo Orlando. I think he was a rare Brazilian player. Paulo
Yeah.
Triplo.
Hello,
He
Triple
gave
O.
that
Yeah.
he gave that like odd distinction of having what didn't he like start his career with something like seven triples in the first couple weeks of the season or something?
Yeah. He had a great start for the Royals like in 2015-ish,
Sounds right.
14 was something like that. Um yeah, it was first major league hit was a triple. Three triples is his first three hits were three triples. Five triples in his first 7 games, establishing a new major league record for the fewest games to hit five triples to open a career. Patented Ryan Lefevre stat right there.
Right.
And he did win the World Series with the Royals in 2015. Uh,
How many consecutive series do you think he had a triple in?
yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's hard to say. And that was maybe more than Billy Butler, but
Yeah.
it's the
That would that
reference
would really make that into a Ryan Lefevre stat, though, wouldn't it?
to the yes, the Billy Butler consecutive series hits. Um, which seems, yeah, I guess he set the major league record for consecutive series or something. I don't know. I don't know if that was a thing, but
Yeah.
yeah, that
Is it
was,
a thing? Was
I
it a
don't know.
thing?
It was a Ryan Lefebvre thing.
Yes.
He was really, I remember he was really into that stat um, for some reason. But
I'm sure it was quite challenging for the stat people to come up with. 'Cause it's not how they. It's not a standard way to keep the stat, right? They don't usually divide up your performance
series,
across series because
and
that's
how
kind
does
of
it count if
irrelevant,
there's like a one-off game somewhere where it's
right?
a,
Or two game series,
like
or
a makeup game or something
yeah,
like that? Game that's been shortened, so they have to finish playing it. That was
suspended game or something.
and
Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
it's
So you could have lost the streak with a suspended game like back early, and they finish it like later, and then that still
and then but
counts back
is
then,
that part of that series or does that become a new series whenever the game is
right?
finished?
And if it's a suspended game, I think it actually counts back because there are players that had like made their major league debut like before they were called up because of games like that, or it's one of those
Hmm.
like odd things that have happened, right?
Yeah, but then sometimes
So
there are
like a
players that aren't on the team anymore, and then they're on the other team when the suspended game is uh re uh
resumed, yeah,
when it's unresumed, as I was going to, was
yeah.
looking for. Yeah,
There,
yeah.
there was like 7 or 8 years ago, there was a situation where, yeah, like a Royals player who I think would have been on the hook for the law, for the, what was it? I can't remember. There was some scenario where like a pitcher that had started the game with the Royals was now on the opposing team, and like there was some weird scenario where like he was responsible for a runner on base,
Mhm. So he could have taken maybe
but
the win and gotten the win and taken the loss in
exactly like
one
that
game.
was scenario was on the table, but they didn't play along with it somehow.
Uh,
Like they didn't. That player did not appear for the other team in the
that would have been
resumed
the most
game.
interesting.
But you'd think that you'd do it just to do it, though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, wow,
Be a
just
footnote.
to have the
Why
weird
not? Yeah,
stat.
yeah. I would do something like that if I could.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we have that. Oh, so back to I guess we're going back to the Chiefs schedule. It seems like the Chiefs. So we knew who their opponents were going to be and kind of knew when they were going to be on the road and versus at home. But the Chiefs, after the Chargers, they play at home against Philadelphia, um, which would be a tough game in the Super Bowl rematch. Then they're at the Giants, which is a team that the Chiefs have never beaten on the road. It seems like it would be the prime time to finally beat the Giants on the road, since the Giants don't look
right.
very good this year. Um, the soon-to-be Jackson Dart-led Giants, I guess the Russell Wilson-led Giants currently. And then they're back at home against Baltimore, at Jacksonville, home against Detroit, another big game, home against Vegas, home against the Commanders, three home games in a row, then at Buffalo, and then on their bye week. So I think they have some tough games before the bye week, but most of those tough games, other than the Buffalo game, seem to be at home. So, um, and the bye week is week 10, which is basically right in the middle of the season, so it's probably a better bye week than sometimes the Chiefs get those early one. They got an early one last year, and they've gotten late
Yeah,
before too. So this one maybe is a good one to have. And then especially because they play at Denver after the bye, I think that'll be a good game to be at Denver. Home against Indianapolis, at Dallas on Thanksgiving, home against Houston on Pearl Harbor Day, home against the Chargers, at Tennessee, home against Denver, at Las Vegas. So that last stretch is probably the easiest stretch, at least from right now, looking at it. So it seems like maybe the Chiefs can catch if they're behind in maybe the seeding races and stuff like maybe could catch up at
could
the end
roar back late in the season.
of the season,
Yes.
or keep racking up wins to stay ahead because they're if they get ahead. So I think it's a pretty good schedule for the Chiefs. They've got a lot of primetime games. They're playing on Christmas, on Thanksgiving, um, and also a lot on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football. Um,
But no Cincinnati though, huh, on the schedule, is that right?
no Cincinnati because yes, they don't play the AFC North. The only AFC North team they play is the Ravens this year because they were the first place team. So no Pittsburgh, no Cincinnati, no Cleveland. They're also playing uh, the AFC South, which is probably one of the easier divisions to play against as the full division. So they're playing Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Houston, and what's the other AFC South team? Um, Tennessee. So some,
That one's late, and Tennessee has not been terribly good
yeah,
the last few years. So yeah,
and yeah, they're playing. I guess only the AFC, the only AFC East team they're playing is Buffalo. So they aren't playing any of, they aren't playing Miami. They aren't playing um,
New England or
New England. Yeah.
yeah,
So and they're playing, I guess they're playing the entire NFC East, which is one of the tough, which is maybe the toughest NFC division, and they're playing Detroit, so they probably have the toughest NFC schedule of any AFC team, I would guess. Uh, going by last year, but who knows?
right,
I wouldn't be surprised if Washington was a tough team last year, but I wouldn't be surprised if Washington was kind of a 1 year wonder and would take a step back. Um,
right.
Kind of like Houston took a little bit of a step back after their big season with a rookie quarterback. Um,
Right. Yeah,
so,
if they follow Houston's path, then it will. Should probably expect some regression, right?
yeah, but anyway, yeah, it's hard to say, but I think it's a decent schedule. You have any games that you're looking especially forward to on the Chiefs schedule?
I don't know. Mostly I always like, know where the Buffalo and Baltimore are because those seem to be like some of their toughest games. But yeah, this the Brazil game is going to be interesting. It's going to be, I assume, quite warm there too. On it in
Yeah, on YouTube, I guess but it's not probably not much warmer than Kansas City or the Chargers would be because it's so early in the season, September, so it's still summer in Kansas City. It's still just coming off of a hot training camp, so
yeah,
maybe Brazil is probably isn't maybe the climactic rude awakening that it might be at other times of the year. So
yeah. I guess it is also nice that that is a Chargers home game, so the Chiefs are like sacrificing a home game to
yeah, the Chargers home game.
uh,
Yeah.
play the international.
Although you might say it's fun to play the Chargers in Los Angeles because it is essentially another Chiefs home game because the Chargers don't get a lot of um, get maybe more fans than they used to get, but it's at least a 50. It's sort of a neutral site game when the
Yeah,
playing in Los Angeles
yeah, they're
against
still
the
building their
Chargers.
fan base, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see that Derrick Henry did sign a extension, I think, with Baltimore?
I did not. That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's 2 years, $30 million for Derrick Henry.
So yeah, running backs are starting to get paid a bit more again in the NFL. The Chiefs running back situation. We'll see what happens with them. They drafted a seventh round running back, well, just like we had Pacheco a couple of years ago. So they have a um, Rashard Smith, the Chiefs drafted from SMU, who also played at University of Miami, I believe, as a wide receiver. So he's a wide receiver slash running back, which could be good out of the back. But maybe replace someone. They didn't really have the Jerick McKinnon threat last year, although Samaje Perine was pretty good at that, but he wasn't maybe a McKinnon level of receiving back. Perine is actually back in Cincinnati this year. He got re-signed back with the um, Bengals. So, but yeah, so who knows what the Chiefs will do? They've got a lot of time between now and training camp, and so we'll see what happens later this summer, how the roster shakes out, see what the other teams are looking like. So, but football, it's not as far away as it once was. I think we are actually kind of well, it's been about 3 months since the Super Bowl, and it's about a little more than 3 months until the start of the new season. So we're kind of halfway into the off season right now. So
Just as an early look on the on FanDuel Sportsbook at the Chiefs over win total, uh, would you take currently over 11 and a half wins at plus 110?
yeah, that seems like it's a 50-50 shot if it's plus 110.
Yeah, it doesn't seem crazy
Under
at
is it
all.
under also one plus 110 or is it?
It's minus 130 right now.
Ooh, I would definitely take the over then.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna bet more.
under 11 and a half.
I think they can win 12 at least. They usually win that many. Um,
Yeah, yeah, 13 and a half is plus 380 for over.
hmm.
So if you think they're going to have 14 or more wins,
I don't know. I think last year they were 15-2. They could, and they were 15-1 going into the last game, and then they just really rolled over and died and let Denver take that game. Um,
right?
but yeah, I don't 14-3 is tough. I think that the schedule it's tough, but I guess like we said, most of the really tough games were at home, other than at Buffalo. And who knows what the teams are going to be like? Maybe some of the games that we think are going to be easy are actually going to be tough. Maybe who knows? Maybe Jacksonville's going to be good this year for some reason, or maybe the Raiders are going to finally make things interesting with Pete Carroll as coach. I don't know, but sometimes the teams that you expect to be good are not as good as the teams you do. Or maybe Dallas will come back and be a um, contender again this year with you know new coach in Dallas. So
Yeah, I don't know. I'd keep betting against Dallas until they actually win something, right?
yeah, who is the Cowboys' new coach? I can't. It was an underwhelming pick. Oh yeah, Brian Schottenheimer. That's who it was. Yes,
So underwhelming
I forgot who it was.
because of
Even
the
though it
Nepo
has a
hire.
Schottenheimer. Yeah,
Your
yeah.
favorite, a legacy coach, Mike.
Like yes, legacy pick of yeah. I guess
It's funny that we both could completely put that out of our minds though, because I did not remember that at all.
yeah, it was. I knew it was it was like the most underwhelming of the head coach picks. Basically, because Jerry Jones wants somebody to boss around. I don't think he could boss around a bigger named coach at this point.
Yeah, right.
So, um, well, speaking of, I don't know what we were speaking. Speaking of boss, I guess the NBA and NHL playoffs are reaching their final stages. We have these conference finals right now. Game one of the conference finals in the Western Conference in the NBA is going on right now, as is game one of the Eastern Conference finals in the NHL. But those are the first games of the conference. We have in the NBA, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Minnesota Timberwolves on the West, and then in the East, we have the New York Knicks against the Indiana Pacers, a classic Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing, uh, revival. Do you think anybody in the Eastern Conference or the Timberwolves are going to be a match for the only number one seed that's left? The Oklahoma City Thunder, who escaped with a 7 game series win over the Nuggets just a few days ago. Do you think Oklahoma City's the favorite, or do you think one of these other teams can upset them?
I mean, yeah, of course, anything can happen, but yeah, I think Oklahoma City needed something like that. Needed to be tested at least anyway to know that they're actually like ready for this. Is probably the scenario that they're going to be going with, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
it looks
but
like
yeah,
the
because they were kind of
favorite now.
overwhelming favorites initially, and then they really got well, they didn't have any test at all in the first round, and then Denver really gave them a run. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's probably good for them to have been tested that way.
Mhm.
They are up in the fourth quarter right now, so
14 points with 7 minutes left, so they're probably
yeah,
going to
they're
win that
they're
game.
in good shape. There have been wide swings in these NBA playoffs, like late in games even too. Big, 20-point comebacks, stuff like that. It's been
Yeah, and it's been
a bit of a bizarre
favorites, and the favorites haven't
race.
made it through. Uh, only
Yeah.
it's in the NBA, it's 1 against 6 in the West, and 3 against 4 in the East. So neither of the top two seeds in the East made it, and those weren't 7 game series either. The Knicks
No.
the three beat the Celtics 4-2, and the Pacers beat the Cavaliers, of course, 4-1. So
Right.
um, it wasn't even close. And then the Rockets and the second seed in the West lost in the opening round to Golden State, seventh seed. So yeah, there's been a lot of upsets in the NHL, in the NBA, but even more so in the NHL, where we have 4 number 1 seeds, and none of those 4 are in the conference finals. We have 2 against 3 in both of those, where we have um, the Dallas Stars against the Edmonton Oilers out west, and the Florida Panthers against the Carolina Hurricanes in the East. And it looks like the game one between the Panthers and the Hurricanes, the Panthers have won. The Florida men have taken the uh, game one, but
It's one of your favorite scenarios that the Southern
yes, it's one
hockey
of my favorite
teams.
scenarios where it seems like, well, we have one Southern team definitely going to be in the NHL finals because there has to be a winner between Florida and Carolina, but we also have a Southern team in the Dallas Stars against the northernmost and the only Canadian team left in the Edmonton Oilers. So I'm rooting for the Oilers to win not only the Western Final but also the Stanley Cup. Um, are you rooting for the Canadian team, or are you rooting for warm weather hockey to reign supreme, Dr. Scaff?
I am rooting for the Canadian team. I think we were both been kind of at least, keeping it in the back of the mind anyway, that you'd like to see at least one Canadian team in the final with a chance to win. Uh, it is their national sport. It should be not so many decades going by between Canadian teams winning these things. So
1993 was the last Canadian team, the Montreal Canadiens winning in 1993. So it's
yeah.
been 32 years since the last Canadian team won, and that's a long time. We were we weren't even in high school yet when the Canadians that was our 8th grade to high school transition summer uh, when the Canadians won the Stanley Cup last. So it's been a
So
while.
it sounds like we're both rooting for Edmonton.
Yes,
But what do you think is going to happen versus what would you like to happen?
I definitely like. I think Edmonton's got a good chance because they have 2 of the best players. They have Connor McDavid and they have Leon Draisaitl too.
Draisaitl, yeah. Yeah.
So they have 2 of the best players. Dallas is always seems like they're always pretty good. Um, and in the East, I don't know who Carolina or Florida. I guess they're both decent, but um, I would rather see Edmonton just take it. I think most hockey fans, people who like cold weather hockey, probably also want to see Edmonton win. So I'd say Edmonton has the majority of neutral fans probably rooting for them.
I would
Yeah,
assume, but yeah, I mean, most of those other the teams that are in the playoffs still are most likely to be only really fans of those teams like from that city, and otherwise like the general hockey fans are probably not terribly excited about any of those other
yeah,
teams
probably.
at all.
I would guess most of the Canadian fans would be wanting the Canadian team to win, and
Yeah, even if they're rivals of the
yeah,
Oilers, right? It's
that's right.
like division rivals. Yeah,
Maybe Calgary doesn't want the. I don't know, but
yeah,
some Calgary, but maybe.
maybe.
Yes, but it's hard. I don't exactly know how the allegiances work that in Canada, where I think things are a little friendlier in some ways. There's more camaraderie in Canada maybe than in the United States among the.
Yeah.
At least that's how I would view their personality. Um,
For us being from Kansas City, well, I guess Dallas would be our closest regional team, but I have no interest in Dallas in general. Do you?
um, Not really.
Yeah.
Same thing
It's
for
one of
Oklahoma
those things like
City.
with being
Yeah,
being a hockey fan without an allegiance, right? It's
yeah. I have, yeah, my allegiance, I guess number one would be the Capitals, and number two probably the Penguins, just because where I am. Um,
your new proximity
yeah.
from where you live
And
currently.
I began as a Capitals fan. I followed them more, but now I spend more time in Pittsburgh, so I'm kind of leaning some to Pittsburgh. But I like I yeah, I tend to of the Pittsburgh teams, I follow the Pirates probably the most, or like the Pirates the most. I guess I probably
Yeah.
follow the Steelers the most since it's an NFL team, and I probably follow every NFL team more closely than I follow the non-Royals uh, baseball teams.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, the
Growing
Pirates
up though, did you have a team that you liked
in hockey.
in hockey? Yeah.
I kind of just it's probably it depends on who was playing, and like I like the players, so it kind of depended on. So I liked the Red Wings for a while. I
Yeah.
I like the Avalanche some. I remember I tended to yeah, so it was kind of just dependent on what who was going at the time. I think it wasn't a geographic thing. I wasn't like a Blackhawks person. I guess they would be the closest when we were kids.
Well,
Um,
St. Louis, but we
oh,
have
the
a
Blues. Like I forgot about the Blues. I wasn't a
we have
Blues kid.
we have a bit of a blind spot for St. Louis related things. Like we just sort of
Yeah,
ignore them in general, right? And
yeah. I wasn't a Blues
yeah,
person.
yeah,
Um, I'd forgotten about the Blues, but
yeah.
yeah.
Like of the closest like regional teams, I probably I like the Blackhawks at least somewhat, but
Mhm.
yeah, one of the NHL Sega Genesis games that I had was I was played as the Red Wings though, so that was always fun. They
Yeah.
had some really fast skaters, which was always one of the better things to do when you
Yeah,
get into
I liked
in like
Steve
those hockey
Yzerman
games.
and Sergei
Yes,
Fedorov,
better off, right?
those players from the Red Wings. They had a lot of the old Soviet players, which were
The Red Army at the time, right?
yeah, which was good. It was just fun. So,
Yeah,
um, Fetisov and some other ones. But I remember them, and I remember some of the big stars, kind of from the '90s. I
yeah.
was a very huge Gretzky fan,
Mhm.
so I don't remember being a big LA Kings guy or a
Yeah,
Coyotes guy, but I liked. Yeah, I don't know. I liked some of the goal. I liked um, Joe Sakic from the Avalanche, Patrick
yeah,
Law,
yes.
some of the goalies. I enjoyed watching their play. Um, I was never a huge fan of any of the teams, but I tended to like the colder weather cities. I think more. Although
Well, it just
Colorado
makes more sense. It's ice
was,
hockey. It's not.
yeah.
It's not a summer sport that you
Although
play
Colorado was kind of an
outside.
expansion team, or they had moved from they were the Quebec Nordiques when they moved to
Yeah,
Denver, but Denver's a city you would think would have hockey.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like the Penguin. I like Mario Lemieux, I guess. He was one of my
Yeah.
players that and Yager I enjoyed. So I
Yeah,
guess
Yager was really good. He's isn't he still like playing
in like
somewhere
maybe in the
in
Czech league or something.
yeah, I think so.
I'll see. Yeah, he plays. He's the play right winger and owner of Rytiri Kladno of the Czech Extraliga, which is the highest level ice hockey league in the Czech Republic.
That's crazy.
So he's a player owner. So
Yeah.
he plays home. He plays in the home games for the teams, in addition to the ownership and administrative role. So he doesn't play in away games, which I think is a little strange because I don't think the Czech Republic is very big. So it's not like the away games are very far from. Uh,
Yeah.
where is Kladno? Kladno is in Bohemia, um, and it's probably again Prague's in Bohemia too. I don't. Yeah. None of those teams are very far from each other. Kladno to Prague is 35 miles. Yeah.
We were talking earlier about the distance between Dallas and Edmonton being, 2,000 miles. Right.
Yes.
That's quite a contrast there.
Yeah. 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 Even Czechia is not a very big country. I guess maybe they might play like in the Euro, like the league, the Champions League or whatever of
Yeah.
hockey. Maybe that would go farther away because you play against Russia or although maybe the Russian teams are not allowed to be playing because of the war in Ukraine. But
Yeah.
yeah, so those are Rytiri Kladno, or the Kladno Knights are uh they play at CEZ Stadion. Fit they only have 5,200 people that can fit into that arena. It's not a very big.
That's like that's like what the Kansas City uh minor league hockey team,
What are they?
Mavericks.
The Mavericks? Are they still playing that Independence Event Center?
Yeah.
Whatever it's called?
Yeah, it's called the Cable Dahmer Arena.
Cable Dahmer.
But
Was it
yeah, it's like
somebody
about that same
Silverstein
size.
Eye Center or something? Was that what it was?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Cable Dahmer.
It's hard to keep track of the
I
naming
still think
rights
why do they
rules.
keep Dahmer in the name of the Cable Dahmer Chevrolet? Because obviously the only Dahmer that anybody knows is Jeffrey Dahmer. It's like including like Hitler.
I
And
I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer was the Dahmer from Cable Dahmer, but
but still you would say you don't why would you put that name in your dealership? Like it's
yeah,
like this wasn't the Hitler that was overrunning Europe and slaughtering millions of people. This is Tom Hitler, longtime German
he's a nice
American
guy.
uh, car dealership owner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just seems like it's just insane that they keep calling it the Cable Dahmer Chevrolet or whatever it is. Is it Chevrolet?
I think they have a couple of dealerships. I don't know which if it's one of them that is it only Chevrolet or is it do they have more than one car dealership
I
that's
think they're
a
all Chevy dealers. Maybe they have other GM cars as well.
yeah, yeah, I don't know.
Cable Dollar.
Cable Dahmer, but not Jeffrey Dahmer. They
No,
should
not
say not that. They should be not that Dahmer to be part of it. Is that what
Cable
you think?
Dahmer Arena holds 5,800 people.
Yeah,
Uh,
since it's bigger than even, huh?
yeah. Uh, we went. I've been to a couple games there. I think I've been to a soccer game and a hockey game there.
Yeah,
The Comets
it
play
is
there.
it's back to the Comets name, yeah.
It was the
The KC Attack for
KC
a
Attack
while.
for a while.
The palindromic KC Attack.
Yes, Comets are the better. Uh, they looks like they're back to the old logo too.
I think so, yeah.
The classic MISL logo. But now they're in the MASL, the Major Arena Soccer League, the highest level of arena soccer in North America. Um, you know who the current champion of the Major Arena Soccer League is?
Not a clue.
The Chihuahua Savage. Uh, yeah. So so there are how many teams? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, 12 teams right now. Um, Dallas has two teams basically. The Dallas Sidekicks, who are also an old MISL team, and the Texas Outlaws, who are in the suburban Mesquite, Texas. So right next to each other. Ooh, Baltimore has a team, Baltimore Blast. That was an old MISL team too. Um, so I could go to the game in Baltimore or Harrisburg. That's not too far away. The Harrisburg Heat. The Heat have by far the smallest arena. They only have an arena that holds 1,660 people.
Whoa, that is a small arena.
They play at the Equine Arena at the Pennsylvania Farm Show complex. So they probably sell that arena out, I would guess, or close to it. It's so small.
You'd think they should be able to just with like friends and family of the players, right?
Yeah. I remember really liking indoor soccer when I was a kid, going to the Comets games.
Yeah,
They outdrew the Kansas City Kings when the Kings were in the NBA. The Comets had more attendance. It was bigger than the NBA, and that's why partly why the NBA I guess left and went to Sacramento. But um,
uh,
also the
because
early
didn't they play in the same arena too?
yeah,
Wasn't that was
both
that
played
at
in Kemper.
Kemper?
They both played Kemper,
Yeah,
and I remember it seemed like there were always more people at the Comets games than there were at the Kings games when I was
yeah. I
relatively.
remember going to some Comets games. They were pretty fun.
Yeah.
Gino Schiraldi.
Yeah, yeah, that pizza place. Is that still open?
No, I don't think so. Not that I know of. It was pretty good though. I think he's still associated with the team though. I think at one point he was like one of the at least fractional owners
Hmm.
of the Comets.
He was an assistant coach of the attack in the late 90s. Gino Giraldi's from Toronto, Ontario. I don't know if Gino Giraldi has, I guess his pizza has probably been gone for a while.
I think it's been
But
quite a
Gino
while.
Giraldi says director he's on LinkedIn. Gino,
Yeah,
he is the director of the KC Comets Soccer Club and has been director for 24 years. So.
yeah. I thought he was still associated with the team somehow, but
Although
yeah,
maybe it's not maybe it's not the professional team. Maybe it's like they are soccer club coaching teams from under 8 to under 19. So
oh,
maybe they're just like the um,
it could be like the academy or something that
players.
like
Yeah.
yeah feeds into it somehow.
Hmm.
Because I think most of like MLS teams have like an academy that's associated with it too.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. So let's see. So we're both rooting for the Canadian team in the NHL. Did you have a feel for the NBA East Conference, Indiana and New York? The
I don't really
Knicks
have a
in the like this deep in the playoffs for the
neither of
first
those
time in
teams.
forever.
Yeah, I never expected either of those teams to make it. So I
Yeah,
guess yeah, I don't have a feel for that. So it seems like it's Oklahoma City's uh,
yeah.
tournament to
Like
lose at this point.
proximity wise, you're probably closer to New York than Indiana, but does that mean
I
anything to you?
I'm not. Yeah, it's probably about the same driving time I would guess between for me to let's see. Let's go to Google Maps.
I just assumed you'd be closer to New York.
Go to the directions to Madison Square Garden from my location. Uh, it is a 5 hour and 4 minute drive currently to New York City. 313 miles. Indianapolis is 431 miles, so it's a little farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, 120 miles farther, so about 2 hours longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So New York is your nearest proximity team. Does that mean
yeah.
you're rooting for New York though?
Well, I would like to see the Knicks do well. Kind of. They've been not so good for so long. The Pacers haven't won a championship though either, so I wouldn't be. I would. I'm not. I would be happy for them too. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. It would be what there's at least a couple of teams that haven't won in
I
at
think.
all, I think, right? And
I
then one
think.
that hasn't won in a long, long time.
Yes. I don't think the Timberwolves have ever won. Neither have those Thunder.
Yeah. I think
Neither
did they make the finals one year, but they didn't
Yeah,
win,
with
right?
Durant, playing for him, I think they made the final.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so the Knicks haven't won for 50 years or so, probably at least
Yeah. Yeah, because
early
they never
70s.
won with
Patrick
with
Ewing,
uh
they made with
Ewing and Starks and those guys.
they
Yeah.
made it. Anthony Mason, those guys, yeah, they made it to the back-to-back finals and they lost.
Oh,
Uh,
to Houston?
they lost to Houston both times, I think, or
Yeah, that's right.
maybe just one time they lost. They were up there. They were up in the fight. Yeah, they lost to Houston. The Rockets. It was in
Yeah.
those inter regnum between the Jordan eras of the Jordan three-peats.
Right.
Um, yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. Uh,
Yeah.
well, should we move on to talking about the Royals?
Sure.
Maybe the biggest news in the Royals is not with the Royals team itself, but it was with the minor league system where we have Jack Caglione making the jump now from Double A Northwest Arkansas to Triple A Omaha because of his stellar start to the season. I think he was batting over 300, had 9 home runs, more RBIs than he had games played. So he was raking in Double A, so now he's up to Triple A. Does this mean that he's going to be with the Royals before the end of the season?
Well, yeah, outfield still is not producing, and they're using some even more bizarre combinations in the outfield. I think what BGO and Dairon Blanco has now made a start in center field too. So it's yeah, they're really stretched thin in the outfield. So like it seems like maybe it would be worth it to try to rush him through just to get him up here because
Mhm.
they need some kind of spark for an outfield production, and they have not
And
gotten any of it this year at all. So it would be, and yeah, they've been winning a few games recently, but it has not been with big offensive numbers at all. It's been
no, as with pitching,
stellar pitching and just enough offense to win games.
yeah, and pitching it seems like may take a step back for a little bit because of recent injuries to Seth Lugo and to Cole Reagans, both of whom are now on the 15-day injured list. They did bring up um, what's
Noah Cameron,
Noah Campbell, who has had
Cameron,
Noah Cameron. Yes, Noah Cameron was
yeah,
another solid start. Chris Bubich has been playing pitching really well too, kind of as at the back of the rotation. So it seems like the Royals pitching has been good, but maybe if they have another injury, I don't know if they can weather that or not. They have some maybe veterans that they've recently signed. Um,
yeah.
and
Lawrence and Waka though have been pretty
they've been pretty
solid
good too.
starters
Yeah,
then too. So they like
yeah.
they'll be the ones that are having to bear the most burden. I think while the 1-2 is out. They've been pitching really well as long as they aren't left in too long, which has
Mhm.
frequently been the case with both of them. Lubitsch, they usually have on a fairly short string. So if he gets into the seventh inning and he gives up, an early walk or hard hit ball, they tend to pull him pretty quickly. But Waka and Lorenzen get left in and allowed to create more problems. frequently, but they're gonna have to tighten up for sure without Reagans and Lugo there.
Mhm.
And I know we were looking at their AAA roster and not seeing much in the starter category.
No, but it seems like they just re-signed some play. Rich Hill they re-signed. Uh,
Hmm.
they have the guy who was playing for. He had been in the Twins and the Cardinals. What was his? Uh,
Gant, I think, was the,
Gant, yeah. Uh, John
and then
Gant.
a couple other veterans. I think that had been in the majors before. I think they signed a minor league deal, so they're
Yeah.
trying to like get some depth at the minor league level that can come up if they need to.
hmm Yeah, it seems unlikely, but it seems that also they have Kyle Wright, maybe, but it seems like he had a recent setback in his rehab start, so he was somebody that maybe was going to become a starter as well. So they have some players. Yeah, I guess it's gonna be Daniel Lynch maybe in the bullpen as a potential starter. Alec Marsh is out again, so like they have a lot of injuries right now in the starting pitching staff. So maybe this is another time where you think, well, maybe bring Caglione up because we need more offense at this point, and we don't have uh offense. Although maybe we think, well, if Caglione comes up, he's not going to be, he's going to be struggling against major league hitting, so maybe he's not going to. But he did pitch.
Yeah,
He did play well against Kershaw when Kershaw had his rehab starts. So he got two hits
yeah,
off of.
he had a couple hits and
Yeah,
some very hard hit balls too. I think one of them was like 110 miles an hour off the bat or something too. So it's not like he
yeah.
isn't making solid contact against major league quality
hmm
players. So yeah, he should be seeing a lot more near major league ready talent at the AAA level, plus maybe some other rehabbing
Yeah,
major leaguers. It doesn't look like he's made an appearance yet at AAA, so I think tonight may have been his first opportunity, but nothing final, I don't think yet.
yeah. I don't see it either. Um, So yeah, that's where the Royals are now. They're pitching. They're kind of playing 500-ish ball the last couple of weeks, treading water, keeping their head above water. I think they're 27 and 22 right now. So 5 games over 500. They lost 2 out of 3, unfortunately, against uh, the Cardinals and also against Houston the procedure before that. So they have been down, but they've won the last 2 games. So
Yeah,
coming back, they're ahead right now 1-0 in San Francisco. That game will not go final until after we sign off.
they're
For
actually behind 3-1 now.
Oh, they're behind 3-1 now, so that's not
Yeah,
good. Um,
and Caglione did make his debut today. He was 1 for 4 at the AAA
hmm,
Omaha Storm Chasers. He struck out once, but yeah, 1 for 4, easing into it. Hopefully,
yes. And the Thunder Timberwolves game one has also gone final 114 to 88 Thunder. So big win there.
there you
26
go.
points.
One
So
seed in good shape.
one seed in good shape. We'll see if the Royals can make a comeback later tonight against uh, the
San
Giants.
Francisco.
Although now the Giants might be able, if they get a hit here, they might break the game open. They're up 3-1, runners on second and third, with 2 outs in the fifth inning. So um, Lorenzen has been relieved by Zerpa, so that's not necessarily a good sign. Zerpa has been the one reliever, it seems like, who is still with the Royals at least, who has been not very good this season. ERA over 6. He's been
Oh,
pitch.
oh, there
So
you go. Hey, you're back.
yeah,
You froze for a second there.
I'm back. Oh, did I freeze? Oh, so
Yeah,
Zerpa. Yeah, I was thinking just talking about Zerpa being wild and ineffective mostly this year, and
yeah. I think you
ERA over.
mentioned that he had an ERA over 6 and maybe had walked some people. I think that's maybe I think what you're in the process of saying,
Yes, yes. From the games
and
I've seen,
then it kind of froze a bit.
yeah, yeah. Technical difficulties. Um,
Yes. But yeah, that ERA of 6 isn't fully telling of his situation because he's been very terrible with coming into games with runners already on base because most of them, I believe, have scored this season. So his ERA would be 6, but he's given some additional ERA to some of the other pitchers that started innings that he's joined in progress.
Yeah.
Not usually what you want to see, from a guy coming into like the situation, like to try to get out of it. And if he doesn't, you'd think you'd probably stop using him in that situation. And the Royals have not
Yeah, it's like Zerpa
picked
has
up on that.
his first batter is now 3-0 count to his first batter. So looking wild and ineffective once again, at least at the
So he's
beginning.
right. So he's coming in to face because he is a lefty and he's got a kind of an interesting delivery. So he uh is challenged. You should be challenged to hit, but he has done this kind of regularly where he comes in and walks the lefty and then has to face the right-handed batter next who does something terrible.
Yeah, he's
Do you
not.
think,
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
expecting that in this scenario,
I
Mike?
wouldn't be surprised. He's placing pitch going against Lamonte Wade uh, Jr. So, but he's 3-2 now, so maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens with this pitch that we're going to right now,
Yeah,
a payoff pitch.
I'm not familiar with Lamonte Wade, are you?
I'm
Or or Lamonte Wade Jr.
no, I'm the senior nor junior. Oh, but at least he got out of it. So something. So
Oh yeah,
bottom.
Chopper.
So he put out that fire.
There we go.
So the Royals
Take
are
it. I don't expect that from him anymore, but if he does, it's a pleasant surprise.
yeah. Well, this episode of Warner Trek Power Hour has been a pleasant surprise for our listeners and viewers, I hope. Should we wrap up this week's episode,
Sure.
and we can talk about things that are coming along down the pike next week. We'll talk about more NBA, NHL playoffs. We probably won't have uh, the finals lineup set by the time we roll around again next week, but we might have a clearer picture on where those series are going. We'll see what the Royals are up to with another few games under their belt, this West Coast trip for them. And then, we'll see if anything in the world of the Chiefs anything has happened there. So those are things we're looking forward to. We have, um, I don't know, we do have the uh well we didn't even mention the Preakness uh
I meant to ask you about it. Did you see the race? I guess it was a pretty exciting finish though. Did you see it?
no, I saw journalism one, but
Yeah,
the Preakness, it says the television ratings were some of the lowest ever because there was no Kentucky Derby winner in the Preakness.
right.
Nobody cared about it. um
Yeah, that seems like quite a missed opportunity
yeah,
to capitalize on the Kentucky Derby, leading it into the next race. You have
yeah.
to have the winner of that in the next race, and they don't.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not there.
Journalism
Yeah,
was the favorite going into the Kentucky Derby, didn't end, but then they won. And then journalism won the Preakness. So, but yeah, the run for the Black Eyed Susans was not
uh,
uh, watched so much, and then the yeah, Sovereignty decided to skip the race, instead set their sights on the Belmont Stakes. So
so I guess they'll have the rematch though. I think in the Belmont between the two from the
yeah,
Kentucky Derby.
yeah, and I
But
kind of
I saw the highlight of the Preakness, and it looked like it was pretty amazing though, where
yeah,
because the
I would
journalism
like
had to like run down the leader like very late in the race, and yeah,
yeah.
completely overtook him like late. That was pretty cool to see, but not live apparently because I didn't watch it live, and apparently you didn't either. Huh?
No, I didn't watch it live. I didn't bet. I didn't. I had almost forgotten it was going on. So, um, yeah,
So
I think
when is the Belmont then the final leg of
June
the
June 7th.
non-existent Triple Crown this year?
June 7th. So I would like to see probably, since Sovereignty skipped the Preakness, I want to see Sovereignty punished for skipping the Preakness. I don't want Sovereignty to win that race. I want to see journalism
Yes.
beat Sovereignty in in the Belmont.
So next week will be our Belmont preview.
Yeah, I think yeah, I would wonder if they should make it if you win the Kentucky Derby, uh, unless there's an injury, you should be required to go in the
Yeah,
Preakness. I think that might be something to
it seems kind of amazing that it's not.
a rule to make.
I
If
mean, you
you
really shouldn't have to make it a rule. It should just be like, the owners and trainers should, absolutely want to have the shot at a triple crown. Like just
yeah.
planned not taking the shot. It seems crazy in itself,
Hmm.
right? I mean, these opportunities don't come along that often. So if you win
No,
the
no,
first
if you win
leg,
the Kentucky
that's
Derby,
you're the
yeah.
only one that can win the triple crown that year. And like, if you just don't
Yeah.
even take a chance at it, then what's the
I don't
point?
know. Yeah, I guess we're not horse people, so we don't maybe there's something to it. Maybe I don't know I wonder how often
Winners from the first race don't even show in the second, don't even uh participate in the next race.
yeah, I'm looking it up right now. The second time in 4 years, in the fifth time in 7 years, the Preakness goes on with no Triple Crown on the line.
That's a lot.
It says
Well,
historically, significant number of Kentucky Derby winners have skipped the Preakness Stakes, though this trend has become more pronounced in recent years.
because
Uh,
it's a shorter track, isn't it?
yeah. So in 29, 5 inches in the last 7 years, 2019, 2021, 2022, 2025. Um, reasons for skipping might be a short turnaround, focus on Belmont Stakes. Uh,
So is the problem just because the races are too close together?
sometimes that's a problem. Yeah. Uh, yeah, from 1875 to 1938. Let's see. Skipping the Preakness. There's a long. So I guess like in the early days, it was not uncommon. Uh, but then um, by 1932, it's become pretty much uh, standard to run both of them if you win the Kentucky Derby. Um, but in some of the years, the Derby was after the Preakness back in the 20s and 30s. Um,
Hmm.
but basically, so 1930, so we had um, 1933, 1938, 51, 52, 54, 55, 59, 82, 85, 96, 2019, 2021, 2022, and then 2024, 25, I guess. We had the Kentucky Derby switch, but there's a big period. So in the 50s, it happened a lot, but then none between 1959, 1982, and then none between 1996 and 2019 either. So it seems to be a recent phenomenon and something that was, uh, it's only happened like 12 or maybe 15 times since 1938, where the Kentucky Derby winner has skipped the Preakness, but it's been happening with regularity lately. So I think maybe there should be a rule unless there's an injury for the horse. You don't want the horse to get injured, but especially with an injury to a horse, can be, death. So you don't want lives at stake, especially um, for a horse race.
Right.
But it's
We
something
don't, we
that
don't we don't treat
we also
athletes the same way we
yeah.
treat horses.
But we do want to have like interest in like if you're the Preakness, especially, you want
Right.
the second and you're the second race, you want to make sure the first winner is in your race because it's like it seems like they
Right.
can because yeah, it's
We're trying to build suspense. You want to tell a story. You
because
need
you're
you
not gonna
need to
Yeah.
have a story to tell, right?
Yeah.
So
You're not going to ruin the Kentucky Derby by not racing in it, but you could ruin the Preakness by not racing in it.
yeah,
Same thing for the
right,
Belmont. You
right,
should, you could, you could have, if especially if you won the first two, you would almost always, I can't think of why you wouldn't run in the Belmont unless there's an injury.
right.
But
Why not? Wasn't one of them tends to be like muddier too, doesn't it? Like, or has the chance for being
well, I
muddier
think
or
it
something
just
about the
depends on the
track itself,
weather.
or
Yeah, I don't know. Just
yeah,
depends. It's mutter.
well,
His father.
I would assume the Kentucky Derby would be probably the more likely to be muddy, right? Because it's like springtime
Yeah,
in
Baltimore. It's gonna rain there too. It's gonna rain
yeah,
in New York as well. It's gonna rain everywhere.
yeah.
Maybe
But
by
it's like,
June.
April, right? So
Yeah,
or beginning of
April, and
May.
then yeah, first Saturday in May, and then mid-May. May, I guess we think of as being rainier than June, but
Yeah. Anyway,
anyway. Well, we ended up talking about the Preakness, but we will have the Belmont Stakes in a couple of weeks. We can talk about that too. 3 weeks, I guess, from now, June 7th. Maybe I guess 2.5 weeks from now. Um, we can talk about the Belmont
sure.
Stakes. Between now and then, we have lots of sporting events to watch. I don't think either Andrew or I will probably be making a lot of bets on any of these events, so your interests to your viewers probably won't conflict with ours, so you can bet to your heart's content because I know uh, you don't want to run afoul of the Scaff Werman curse by betting on teams that are not being bet on by us, which it's a real thing. So you got to watch out for that. Although, if you had like for a while though, it seemed like if you just took the opposite of whatever we took, you would do very very well. But
There are times.
there are
Yeah.
times when we actually get things right here at the Power Hour. Speaking of getting things right, we should end this week's episode now. I believe, uh, as always, I am Dr. Michael Werman. He's Dr. Andrew Scaff. We are the Warren Track Power Hour. Please like and or subscribe to our uh, YouTube channel or our podcast, which is available on many different podcast delivery platforms. And we thank you again for your watching and listening. Again, we wish you luck if you're making any bets this weekend, as long as your bets do not your interests do not conflict with ours, which we've already gone over through that part. So we're kind of repeating ourselves at this point of the Power Hour. So that may really signals that it's time to end things tonight. Another exciting episode in the books. We'll see you back next week. And until then, we'll wish you a good day.